Parles-tu français? Hablas español? Parli italiano? If you've used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world. With lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers, Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Wondery. Spelled BABBEL.com/Wondery. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 431 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great.
That's good.
Just back. You just got back from CrimeCon.
I did. Just got off the plane right now. No.
and Ubered directly to the studio.
That's right.
Now, we talked about it on Patreon, but it was a rough weekend for me because I just felt like the whole time I was really missing it.
And you were missed too.
I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Holly Cobb.
What's going on, Cobb?
Heather Thomas.
There's Thomas.
Anthony Hammett.
Hey, Hammett. Damn it, Hammett.
Donkey Daddy jumped out at our highest level.
Sorry.
You laugh every time. That's the third time I've said it today, and you laugh every time.
Who's your daddy? Donkey Daddy's your daddy. I don't know.
Echo. Zach Loveland.
I'm still laughing. Who's your daddy? Donkey Daddy. Hey, Zach.
Charles B.
What's up, B?
And Oysen.
Hey, Oysen.
And if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Zoe Darling Maxwell.
Maxwell, thank you.
So, yeah, we appreciate the new support, the continued support. Gibbs, we have an episode out right now on True Crime All the Time. We're actually starting a series on Rodney Alcala, American serial killer, sex offender, who was sentenced to death in California for multiple murders. And this is a guy who has been conclusively linked to about 8 murders, I think 8. But authorities suspect that he's probably killed over 100 people.
Yeah, and I think we're on the same page. We know it's more than 8.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any doubt about that. And a lot of that has to do with the photos that have been collected from, his residences, and they're still trying to work to identify those. But
he's just a creepy guy, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good series, so make sure you check that out. All right, buddy, are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am ready.
We're talking about the disappearance of Woody Kelly. Woody Kelly was a successful investment counselor and a pillar of his community. In June 1985, his yacht was found abandoned on Lake Michigan, but Woody was nowhere to be found. And, during the investigation, things started to come out, Gibbs, that made it seem like maybe Woody didn't meet with foul play. And those are the things that we're going to dive into.
Remember that time I abandoned my yacht?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I was shocked that you had a yacht. Second of all, not shocked to find out what you were calling a yacht. It was actually about a 6-foot dinghy.
There you go, bringing up my dinghy again.
Yeah. Just writing the word yacht on the side of any boat does not make it a yacht.
See, I didn't realize that, Yeah. I had fun until it hit that little rock and air started leaking out. And, you know how the rest of the story goes.
Yeah. Woodruff Scoville Kelly Jr., who preferred to be called Woody, was 42 years old at the time of his disappearance. I think if my name was Woodruff, I would probably maybe go with Woody too.
Yeah.
Woody was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His parents were Natalie and Woodruff S. Kelly Sr. He grew up with a brother and 2 younger sisters. Woody's parents divorced when he was 17. He enlisted in the Navy soon after the divorce. Woody met his wife, Ann, while he was still in the military. She was working as an airline reservations clerk. They had 3 children together, their sons, Christopher and Sean, and their daughter, Carrie Ann. In a later interview with the Chicago Tribune, Ann said about her marriage, he supported his kids. He loved them. He spent time with them. He gave us everything we needed, physically and emotionally. You're talking to a woman who totally loved her husband.
And it sounds like it right there with what she said.
I mean, I don't know what else you could want in a marriage. I mean, she's basically saying they had a great marriage and she was absolutely, totally in love with him. Woody spent 12 years in the military as a radio and radar man. He spent most of his service off the coast of Vietnam. By the time he was discharged, he had 6 commendations and was a first-class petty officer. Woody left the Navy in 1974. That year, his 11-year-old son was diagnosed with leukemia. A friend told the Chicago Tribune that the Navy reassigned Woody to a location where his son couldn't get medical treatment, so he decided to leave. Woody felt bitter towards the end of his time with the military because he couldn't be with his family.
Well, of all times to be with your family, that's a critical time.
But and go back to what, his wife Ann said, it does seem as though he was a good husband, a good father, and a good provider. This is a guy who wanted to be with his family and wanted to be with his children. After he was discharged, Woody briefly worked for his father as a charter boat skipper, and he joined the Army Reserves in Waukegan, Illinois.
I always wanted to be a skipper.
I could just call you the skipper. Now, you're going to have to gain some weight.
Well, I don't want to be like the skipper.
Oh, okay. You want to be a skipper.
Yeah.
I thought you meant you wanted to be the skipper.
No, not that.
We can get the hat.
I mean,
but you don't have the build for it.
That skipper really wasn't a good skipper. He did run.
He actually wasn't. he ran it aground.
Yes.
In 1975, Woody and his family settled in Antioch, Illinois, a small town near Lake Michigan. They lived in a house in a modest neighborhood. According to Unsolved Mysteries, Woody opened a CB radio shop, which closed in 1978.
Breaker 19.
I don't know if you and I have talked about it before. I know CBs were, big in the 70s, and they were still pretty big in the 80s.
Yeah.
I remember in the late 80s, before cell phones, my friends and I all had CB radios in our car, and that's how we talked to each other around town.
You just thought you were cool stuff, man.
Yeah, we had handles and everything. We were dorks.
Yeah. Still are kind of.
Yeah, I'm a big dork. After this, Woody started a small insurance company. He eventually added a mortgage corporation. In the early 80s, he started Woodland Investment Company, which dealt in securities. The unique spelling was meant to connote his name, Woody, and his wife's name, Ann. So it's Woodland, but it's spelled with 2 N's.
Fancy.
Very fancy. But just look at the way this guy is heading, right? He's in the military, gets out of the military, opens a CB radio shop. Okay, I don't know how much money you're going to make with a CB radio shop. You know what you can make a lot of money in? Insurance, mortgage, and securities.
Absolutely.
You can make a bunch of money. And Woody's financial success increased rapidly. After 1981, by 1982, word spread that Woody's clients earned 16 to 20% interest on their investments, and his client base expanded outside of Antioch to Waukegan, Kenosha, Milwaukee, and even Florida.
That's amazing. Almost unheard of.
16 to 20%?
Yeah.
I would love to get that kind of return. The first thing that goes through my mind is Ponzi scheme.
Same here.
Because I just, it seems too good to be true. I feel like we're getting into some Bernie Madoff territory.
Right.
Woody had a few hundred clients, many of them everyday people who invested their life savings with him. He typically promised new clients, per the Chicago Tribune, up to 20% return on your investment, interest monthly, along with the statement. You can withdraw your principal at any time. It's insured, and when the maturity date occurs, you can roll over the principal into my money market. I also handle IRAs.
I handle everything.
He was doing it all. Woody and his family moved into a mansion near Antioch, which was just a few feet past the Illinois border. In fact, Woody didn't realize he lived in Wisconsin until after they moved, and he learned that he would have to pay tuitions for his sons to attend high school in Antioch.
That's a little strange to me, but I get it. I mean, if it's right on the border, I guess you didn't look at the fine details of the paperwork.
I don't even know if that's the fine details. That's the address.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it says Wisconsin and not Illinois. But okay, if you're moving into a mansion, you're making a boatload of money. Is it going to bother him to, pay this tuition for high school? Probably not. It's just annoying maybe because he wanted to live in Illinois.
Or Illinois.
Yeah. Which is actually even pricier.
Yeah, it's an upper scale part of that area.
Because it doesn't exist. So you have to pay extra to even get in. Woody was also able to buy luxury vehicles, 2 airplanes, 2 more homes, and 6 boats.
Well, they're doing just fine.
Well, first of all, why do you need 2 airplanes? I mean, really? Most people don't even need 1, but I get it. You're rich. You want an airplane.
I mean,
what are you going to do with 2?
Well, 6 boats.
Well, he did start a yacht charter service as a hobby, so that might have had something to do with the number of boats, but he also had a horse farm, and his wife managed an interior design shop. I mean, they have got a lot going on.
Very busy.
And a lot of different streams of income.
Which is good.
It is good if it's all on the up and up.
I read a book once. I know right there, or he has you at the edge of your seat. Gibby read a book once.
Not only on the edge of my seat, but already dubious about whatever the rest of it is that's going to come out of your mouth. Because if you're starting with a lie, I don't know how truthful the rest of the statement's going to be.
But in the book, they talk about having multiple streams of income, and they use the thought of sitting in a boat on the pond with multiple fishing lines in the water. And each fishing line, represented a different income stream.
Yeah.
So when one fish wasn't hitting, the other ones would be, and you'd always have money coming into your boat.
It's great.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. So maybe you did read a book, or you are making that up, or you heard that somewhere. Either way, I like it.
Yeah. I know it was compelling.
Woody enjoyed hosting friends and neighbors in his home. Many of those friends became his clients. And I'm telling you right now, Gibbs, if you're able to get people 16 to 20%, you're going to have people beating down your door wanting to invest money.
Absolutely.
Because that is an amazing return. Woody Kelly was one of the most respected citizens in town. Antioch Mayor Robert Wilton told Unsolved Mysteries, Woody, I feel, was considered by a lot of people as a pillar of the community. He belonged to 2 very active community organizations, participated a great deal in those organizations. Woody gave generously to local organizations and to his church. He participated in weekly Rotary luncheons and was designated as the club's next president. He was also an officer for the Knights of Columbus, a Catholic fraternal service organization, and participated in Lions Club events.
Well, look, he was in everything he needed to be to help your business grow in a community.
Yeah, I know the Rotary was such a big deal back in the day. I don't know if it is as big now, but the Rotary was like, if you were a businessman or something like that, you wanted to be part of the Rotary.
I was a member of the Rotary at one time, and I was the past president of the Optimist Club.
And you're not only just a member of Hair Club for Men, you're also the president.
It's working out well. Not really, but
For a 1981 Rotary fundraiser, Woody donated a 5-day trip on his most luxurious yacht, Lady Anne, which included airfare, fuel, food, and beverages. Anne wasn't involved in her husband's business. In her words, I never knew just what he was doing. He had his business. He worked. He came home. He went to the office. I had my life, my children, and my design business. No one seemed to know exactly how Woody became so successful so quickly, which fueled rumors. We mentioned it, right? From owning a CB radio shop to insurance, annuities, securities, mortgage. It seemed like a big jump.
Yeah. Now he has a mansion and 2 planes and 6 boats and sports cars and horses and, life is good.
Oh my. Woody's friend Randy Miller told the Chicago Tribune, Woody always said he got a kick out of keeping people guessing. He always seemed reluctant to talk about his past, and he became even more secretive after he became extremely wealthy. He almost never talked about his parents, but he did talk about his time in the Navy and his banker stepfather, William H. Latimer. Woody enjoyed telling a story about a Navy training mission on Lake Michigan. He claimed he ordered the firing of a single shell loaded with glass over a threatening crowd in Milwaukee that had gathered after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. He claimed he did it to stop rioters from boarding the ship. The shell blew a hole in a factory, and he faced a disciplinary hearing. The Navy wouldn't confirm nor deny Woody's story to the Chicago Tribune.
When you don't confirm or deny, isn't it kind of like it probably happened? Because if it didn't happen, you would just go ahead and deny.
I think that's how a lot of people look at it. Same with, a lot of times when you say no comment, it's probably because you don't want to answer that whatever they're asking you is true. Gibbs, when we started this podcast, we had to figure everything out on our own. Where to get a logo, how to get the podcast on iTunes. Every day seemed to introduce a new decision that needed an answer. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. From household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. And that was one of the other decisions we had to make. How to be able to offer podcast merchandise. Shopify simplified everything. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/TCAT. Go to shopify.com/TCAT. Shopify.com/TCAT. True Crime All the Time Unsolved is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. Woody Kelly disappeared in June 1985. To outsiders, it seemed like he had the perfect life. There were no indications he was planning on leaving or planning on ending his life. He played tennis with his wife on the morning of June 8th. They stopped playing before noon, and Woody drove to Antioch to get lunch and run some errands.
Hey, if this was today, would he be playing pickleball?
Maybe.
Like you and your wife do?
Maybe.
Okay.
But people still play tennis, but a lot of people do play pickleball. Woody purchased a pair of sunglasses and picked up his blood pressure medication. He ate at a Greek restaurant in town that was open 24/7 in the weeks before he disappeared. He had been visiting the restaurant frequently in the early morning hours as if he'd been having trouble sleeping. He saw his friend Jack Sigmeyer at the restaurant, Sigmeyer recalled that Woody was excited about his new yacht, which he was going to check out that afternoon. This man cannot stop buying yachts.
He loves his yachts.
At 1:30, Woody stood up and announced to his friends that he needed to go. One witness told the Tribune that as he left, Woody seemed different, heavy, like he had a lot on his mind. And, these types of recollections, right, by people who have interactions with individuals right before they disappear, they're very important. What is said? What's the person's state of mind? Also, why is he visiting this Greek restaurant a lot in the very early morning hours?
He wants some good food.
Also, why is this Greek restaurant open 24/7?
Well, that's a little strange for, I don't know that Greeks like to be open 24/7.
You just came back from Greece. I did not get the feeling that it was a 24/7 culture.
Yeah, I don't believe it is, so I'm a little surprised. But maybe that's what they do at this small town.
Seem like they like their downtime, according to you.
They do.
Woody headed to Great Lakes Yacht Sales in Kenosha to look at the boat he had just purchased. Woody told service manager David Kelly, no relation, he was going to take the boat out for a test drive. David asked Woody if he wanted him to join him because that was company policy, but Woody was adamant about going alone. He said he had people waiting for him at the dock in Waukegan Harbor, and he'd be back around 6 or to 6:30 p.m. Woody's family was also expecting him home around that time. David Kelly helped Woody cast off, and that was the last time he saw it. And I get it, right? They have a policy. It's kind of like at the car dealership. They want to ride with you. But I think when you have the type of money that Woody had, okay, will they bend the rules for you? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's a guy who buys a lot of very expensive yachts. At 6:50 p.m., Woody's friend and charter boat captain Herb Peterson sent a message to the Coast Guard that Woody's yacht was overdue. Peterson noted that Woody was alone and had a history of high blood pressure. Peterson informed the Coast Guard that Woody was taking the yacht out for a trial run. He planned to stop at Waukegan Harbor to show it to his wife and business associate and then return to Kenosha Harbor. Peterson was then supposed to pilot the yacht to Fort Lauderdale for outfitting as a sport fishing boat, but Woody never showed up. So I get it, right? They're on Lake Michigan, a big lake.
Sure.
You can, ride around a lot on a yacht, I would assume, on Lake Michigan. But how fun would it be to take the yacht from Lake Michigan to Fort Lauderdale?
That would be a lot of fun. My uncle used to do things like that.
I don't know exactly how that trip works, but, you got to get out to the Atlantic somehow, right? Up north and then down the Atlantic, I would think.
Yeah, make a little right.
Unless he's somehow going all the way down the Mississippi.
No, I think he goes out to the Atlantic.
Up through the Great Lakes or out the Great Lakes and up through New York or
somehow.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's a path some way.
There is.
Yeah.
We just have no idea. So we're just talking out of our arseholes.
That or they transport it on land until they get over to
that could be true.
A port where they can actually port it out and go out to the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be true. Peterson said he had met Woody on the docks at Kenosha at 2:30 p.m., briefly spoke to him and left. As mentioned, service manager David Kelly was the last person to see Woody when he departed on the yacht. About an hour later, the Coast Guard received a call from Woody's business associate, William Nasello, who helped Woody operate his yacht chartering business. He reported that he had searched Waukegan Harbor and could not find Woody or the boat. A Coast Guard officer contacted Woody's wife, who said, "It's unlike him to be gone so long without contacting someone." Around 9:30 p.m., the silhouette of a vessel matching the missing yacht's description was seen near Camp Logan, a former National Guard camp with no running lights. The yacht had almost reached the shoreline, and the water was too shallow for the Coast Guard's utility boat to follow safely. One Coast Guard officer volunteered to swim to the shoreline with a tow rope. An officer from the Zion, Illinois Police Department also responded to a 911 call about the yacht, By the time Officer Wayne Brook arrived at the scene, a Coast Guard officer was standing in the water near the stern of the boat. The engine was still on, and the bow of the boat was going deeper into the sand. It seemed no one was already on board to help them up. Officer Brooks told Unsolved Mysteries that the engine eventually died as he got closer to the boat, but it was still drifting. He was able to pull himself over the side to start searching, but no one was on board. He explained, "When I arrived, the way the engines were running, if someone had fallen off that boat, it's my opinion they could not have gotten back on that boat. It would have been moving away from them too quickly." Authorities found a pair of new sunglasses next to a radio that they couldn't get working. Next to that was a note in Woody's handwriting about an odometer malfunction. The glasses led investigators to suspect Woody had fallen overboard. The Coast Guard retraced his route but found nothing. I get it, right? You find these sunglasses. Could it be that, he was wearing the sunglasses, he tripped, the sunglasses fell off, he went overboard? Or could it be that he just laid the sunglasses down?
Could have been. Just placed them where they found them.
But the thing is, he's placed on the boat, right? And now the boat is found and he's not on it. So that's a fairly logical explanation.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of your initial thoughts.
The sales company maintained that the radio was functioning. When Woody purchased the yacht, the boat's electrical system was also operating normally.
But now the radio's not working when they find the boat?
Yeah, I don't know what you make of that. But if the theory is that he fell overboard accidentally, then the radio doesn't really make that much sense anyway. He couldn't have used it if he's overboard. Initially, the residents of Antioch were saddened by the loss of Woody, but as the days passed, evidence surfaced that Woody had been stealing from his clients. 4 days before he went missing, Woody was served with a court order to stop selling securities. Another order to produce sales and investment records was on the way, as well as a freeze on his assets. So now we're really getting into, an area of, was the you-know-what about to hit the fan?
Right.
In this guy's life. And did he, A, decide to end his life, or did he leave voluntarily, make it look like an accident so that he could start a new life?
Yeah, because potentially he was going to go from the hero of the town to the zero of the town if found guilty, and they were about ready to freeze his accounts.
And I'm assuming he would do quite a bit of time incarcerated.
Yeah, if found guilty. So maybe he said, this is time for me to get out of here, and I better take some of my money with me, maybe.
Many questioned why it took so long for the Illinois Secretary of State's office to investigate Woody, but that might have been because no one had ever complained or even felt suspicion towards him. He seemed credible because of his wealthy lifestyle and the fact that he valued family over anything else. Woody was known for saying everything is for sale except a man's family. And I think that's, when you look at the root of some of these Ponzi schemes, you have some people who are very successful. Who doesn't want to be involved with people who are very successful and are making other people a bunch of money?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it turns out to be a facade. I mean, Bernie Madoff was successful.
Yeah.
He just happened to then go into this other thing that made him way more money. He didn't have to, I don't think. I don't know the full Bernie Madoff story, but I feel as though he would have been a wealthy man had he not gone into the Ponzi scheme.
Oh, absolutely.
That just made him like super rich. And for some, they just can't pass up that money, man.
Well, it's because there's never enough for them. They're never satisfied.
Well, that's why they say money is the root of all evil. It wasn't until April 1985 that someone filed a complaint against Woody, and it took 2 months for the case to go to court. 4 days before Woody disappeared, Milwaukee veterinarian Norman Osgood filed a suit with the U.S. District Court to recover the $483,000 he invested with Kelly. Osgood objected to the way his money was being handled. Illinois authorities initially hesitated to act because Osgood lived in Wisconsin. Scott Helmholtz, Assistant Director of Enforcement for the Illinois Secretary of State, told the Chicago Tribune, "We had jurisdiction to administratively keep Kelly from selling further, but I felt we couldn't freeze his assets without going to court, and we couldn't go to court without an Illinois victim." Illinois authorities were able to suspend Woody from dealing in securities once they discovered he had been running his business for at least a year without registering under the Illinois Securities Act.
Well, that's a problem.
Seems like a very strange thing to do if you're running this ultra successful securities business. That just seems like a securities 101 thing to do.
Yeah, make sure you're licensed in the state you're selling.
The Lake County Sheriff's Office began looking at Woody's records and realized there was no money in his client's accounts. He had been spending it all. Almost $6 million was missing.
That's a boatload of money.
Or a plane full of money, 2 planefuls of money, and 6 boatloads of money.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is, Gibbs, but I think you said it, right? The money. It's never enough. They want more and more. And some people will do just about anything to get it, including, defrauding people out of their life savings, their, everything they built up to retire on.
Yeah.
And they're essentially left almost penniless.
I mean, they're doing it to their own friends and family.
Absolutely.
If your dog could talk, they'd warn you about what's lurking in their bowl. Mass-produced kibble isn't just unappetizing. It could be a crime against canine health. Mysterious byproducts, unpronounceable preservatives, and who knows what fillers? Sounds more like evidence from a crime scene than dinner. Ollie is here to crack the case on pet nutrition with fresh human-grade meals made with the highest quality ingredients. No mystery meats, no artificial junk, just real, minimally processed food made in U.S. kitchens. It's the kind of clean eating that keeps tails wagging and noses sniffing for more. With 5 fresh protein-first recipes like beef with sweet potatoes and turkey with blueberries, your pup won't have to wonder what's in their food ever again. Because when it comes to their health, the only mystery should be where you hide the treats. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/truecrime. Tell them all about your dog and use code TRUECRIME to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/truecrime and enter code TRUECRIME to get 60% off your first box.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Woody had told his investors he was putting their money in second mortgages and promised a return of 16 to 19% per year. His client statements reflected these numbers, but they were fake. Woody claimed to be buying second mortgage trust deeds from Bellevue Corp of San Francisco and insuring them with PMI through Allstate, right? You and I are very familiar with PMI.
We are.
Primary mortgage insurance. Bellevue executives told the FBI they never sold any second mortgage trust deeds to Woody, and insurance executives said they never insured anything belonging to Kelly.
Hey, don't forget, when we're done with this podcast today, I have an investment opportunity for you. I want to let you in on the ground floor, but it's a once in a lifetime thing.
Can I earn 16 to 19%?
A little bit better than that.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah, I just
You don't even need to tell me the details.
Just give me your
tell me
blank checks.
Just tell me how much to write the check for. But here's the thing about this one that I think is different from some other Ponzi type schemes. Most of them, they're using new people's money to pay the older people or the people who have been in there longer,
right,
actual returns. So that's how they can get away with it for a longer period of time. Now, eventually it's going to catch up with anyone, But I don't think this guy was even doing that.
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he was just making fake statements.
Yes. He was just saying they had the money, and he wasn't actually paying any, dividends or returns to the people. He was just spending all their money. By late June 1985, 40 people had been subpoenaed by a grand jury trying to determine Woody's whereabouts. On June 24th, the Illinois Attorney General filed suits against Woody, charging him with defrauding around 300 investors of nearly $6.5 million.
Wow. I mean, it's 1985.
It's a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money today, but in 1985, it's really a lot of money.
It really is.
I mean, we just had a $1.8 billion Powerball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, in 2025, 6.5 million isn't what it was in 1985. That being said, I'd still love to have $6.5 million today.
Same here.
Attorney General Neil Hartigan said, per the Chicago Tribune, this man built a house of cards with no foundation. The money he received was never invested, and he sent phony statements to investors, indicating that they were receiving high rates of return. It appears, however, that he may have converted investors' money for his own use. Oh, and let's talk about 1985. How hard would it have been to dummy up some financial statements, print them off of a printer, and mail them to clients?
Fairly easy.
I mean, today, people jump on their computer, they get on their brokerage account.
Yeah.
They have an app that probably, tells them within seconds what's going on in their account. Not to say that those couldn't be dummied, but maybe a little tougher.
Yeah, I definitely think you could forge those too, but not like you could have back in 1985. Pretty easy. I don't think it would have been that difficult.
Hell, I'll write you a check. I thought you said you wanted money.
Yeah.
On September 20th, 1985, Woody was charged with mail fraud. A criminal complaint filed in federal court accused him of failing to invest over $5 million that had been turned over to him by clients between 1982 and June 1985. Except for a few refunds, almost all the money was dispersed to Kelly or one of his companies. According to the affidavit, one man who invested $74,000 with Woody said he refused to tell him the name of the company that sold him the mortgage trust deeds, but Woody insisted they all were insured. The customer demanded his money back, but only received $25,000 of the $74,000. The mail fraud charge was based on the contention that he conducted much of his business by mail. The fraud complaint was accompanied by a warrant for Kelly's arrest. Several sources told the Tribune that most of the missing money was unaccounted for and not explained by Kelly's luxury purchases.
So there's a lot of extra money there
somewhere,
but nobody knows where it is.
Right.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking, saying, okay, he's using it to buy planes. He's using it to buy boats. Well, it turns out that no, the bulk of the 6.5 million, he wasn't using for that. So
yeah,
where is it?
Where is it? Yeah. Down in the Cayman account next to mine.
Probably.
Yeah.
Mitch Deere is down there right now.
Mitch McDeer.
McDeer, was that his name? Yeah, McDeer.
So. Yeah.
After he disappeared, Woody's assets were seized by banks trying to recover their money. According to the Chicago Tribune, all of Woody's vehicles, planes and boats, had either been retained or mortgaged. One banker told the Tribune, Woody loved to be leveraged to the hilt. That's how he got all his expensive things. And that explains why he wasn't using the 6.5 million.
Yeah.
He wasn't paying for all this stuff.
No, he was just taking loans against everything.
It was also reported that on June 6th, just 2 days before he disappeared, Woody obtained a personal note for $70,000 at a bank in Waukegan. He also had a 60-day $20,000 note from the Bank of Waukegan, part of $630,545 in commercial term notes owed to that bank since 1984.
And that bank got snowed.
Well, I mean, this is a guy who presumably is presiding over millions and millions of dollars in securities.
Yeah.
I'm sure he snowed the bank in much the same way that he snowed the investors.
Sure. Look at my asset list. Look how good I look on paper.
Right. Dan Pierce, a lawyer and court-appointed receiver for Kelly's known assets, told the Tribune, banks loved him. They stood in line to loan him money. People stood in line to place their life savings with him. Everyone loved the guy. And I do think, for a scheme like this to work, a person has to be like a Woody Kelly.
Yeah.
You have to be extremely likable, clean cut on the outside, right? Pillar of the community. And then everybody would just assume you're on the up and up and everything's above board.
You know who could do good at this? You.
Yes, because on the outside, I give the appearance
You do.
that everything is above board.
Somehow I was trying to convince you to give me money a little bit ago, and then you paused, and I just wrote you a check for everything that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not much, but you said you could double it within a month or two.
See, that's how convincing I am. FBI agents reviewed information from Kelly's office and found a trail leading from his investors to 4 Florida banks. But the trail ended with empty accounts. Some investigators found it hard to believe Woody fell off his yacht and drowned because he was a skilled sailor. However, Ann Kelly's attorney, Robert Tarrin, made note of a shaky railing on a ladder leading from the upper deck to the lower deck. Great Lakes yacht sales manager Ed Polloway noted that the radio, which was on the upper deck, had to be turned on by a master switch. On the lower deck, this led to speculation that Woody fell as he attempted to go below deck to activate the radio. Woody's friend and charter boat captain Herb Peterson told the Tribune that he boarded the yacht after it was recovered and saw scratch marks on the paint next to the ladder that could have been made by fingernails. He added that if Woody had fallen into the lake, he couldn't have climbed back on board since the ladder did not reach close enough to the waterline. Another theory was that Woody might have suffered a heart attack or a complication related to his high blood pressure. There was also rumors that Woody's disappearance was related to drugs. There had always been talk that Woody got his success from the drug industry. Woody rarely ever drank and had quit smoking, and these rumors deeply bothered him.
Well, when someone dies mysteriously or someone disappears mysteriously, you're going to have all kinds of rumors.
You are in any case. Now, add in the fact that this is a man who essentially defrauded a bunch of people out of $6.5 million.
Yeah.
Well, then you're going to have a lot more rumors.
You sure are.
Where's that money? They follow the trail down to these Florida banks. Those banks are empty. Not to mention the fact that it seems like he's about to be arrested any day. So, yeah, speculation is going to run rampant.
And if he stole my money, maybe I'm the one that was going to get on that boat and throw him off.
Well, okay, let's take that angle, right? That has to be something to be considered. I don't think you can be a guy like Woody Kelly and not have some enemies, right? We talked about the guy who wanted his $74,000 back. He only got $25,000. You think that guy wasn't upset? Now, I'm not saying he was upset enough to kill him, but how many other people were out there who had found out that they couldn't get their money back or they weren't getting their money back? They might want to do some harm to this guy. Lita Wilton, the close family friend, told the Chicago Tribune that Woody once called her daughter out of school and questioned her about a rumor that William Haley, an Antioch resident who was convicted of drug smuggling in 1984, was behind his mysterious riches. Woody traced the rumor to someone in the choir at his church and went to the choir director about it.
So he hears about this rumor and confronts the daughter of a close friend. He goes to the church, talks to the director, but not the person. Wouldn't you just go right to the source?
Yeah, it was a little vague in the reporting, but my thought is if you made your money legitimately, you'd be really upset if people were saying that, you got your start smuggling drugs or that's how you really made all your money. I mean, you'd be ticked off because you put a lot of hard work into building a business. Now, I don't know. He was ripping people off, so I don't really know why he was so upset about it in the first place. Maybe it was just the kind of mark against his squeaky clean image at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it could hurt his reputation, right? If this got out.
People would stop investing with him or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, another theory was that Woody had run away to start a new life with the stolen money. The Lake County Sheriff's Office received 2 reports of a seaplane in the vicinity at the time of Woody's disappearance. But there was no evidence to support these claims. Others speculated that Woody was able to swim to shore, where a getaway car was waiting for him. Despite knowing he stole millions from his clients, people in the community still had mixed feelings about Woody. Local restaurateur Randy Miller told the Chicago Tribune in 1986, "If I saw Woody today, I might clobber him, but I'd also want to hug him and sit him down and ask why."
One of those love-hate things, huh?
So does he clobber him first and then, sit down and hug him, or is it the other way around? I don't know.
Maybe best to ask him the question first, then club him.
Associate Bill Leisner, who lost $30,000, said he was an ostentatious SOB, but a lovable one. If he came back today and needed $10,000 for an investment, I'd give it to him, no questions asked. That seems like the strangest statement I've ever heard.
I know, I don't know, Bill. Maybe you shouldn't be in the investment world.
Yeah, you lost 30. Here's another 10. I know you'll do better with this.
Yeah.
With this. But, let's talk about this theory, right? I can see why people gravitate towards this theory that Woody ran off to start a new life. The 6.5 seems to be unaccounted for. There's a lot of heat on him at the time. Now, I'm sure he doesn't want to leave his wife and family, but he also probably doesn't want to go to jail.
Right.
And then later prison. And let's face it, in 1985, $6.5 million would provide you an amazing lifestyle in a lot of different parts of the world.
Yeah. You would not have to work again.
No.
As cheap as I am, I can make that 6.5 last for a very, very long time. Be like generation wealth to me.
Yeah. I've seen you eat on $5 a week.
I can make it happen. I might even splurge every now and then and actually get me a drink with my meal. 7
years after Woody disappeared, his wife tried to have him declared legally dead so she could collect life insurance policies worth $450,000. Anne was granted a divorce by default in 1988 and changed her last name to Proctor. By 1992, she was remarried and living in Michigan. Anne and her children maintained that they hadn't seen or heard from Woody since June 8th, 1985. Anne's petition stated, "It is presumed that Woodruff S. Kelly Jr. encountered some mishap while testing the fishing vessel, the Piscator, on Lake Michigan on June 8, 1985, and drowned somewhere along the Illinois border, near Illinois Beach State Park." Anne granted her first interview in December 1992. She told the Chicago Tribune that they lost everything. She became an outcast in her community and tried to maintain a low profile since Woody's disappearance. Her sons had to drop out of college because they had no tuition money. She and her daughter moved into a small apartment together and started working at a department store and declared personal bankruptcy in 1987. She said in her interview, "We were the ultimate victims. Our lives were totally devastated. Psychologically, financially, and socially. Our husband and father was gone, along with our reputation, our security, our friends." She said at a later point in the interview, "I know exactly how these people feel who put their trust in my first husband. I'm one of his victims too." She added, "I have forgiven him That's part of the growth process, part of renewing your life and going forward. But I can't speak for my children. I know they are suffering. Anne was asked if she believed Woody was dead and said he was not the kind of man who would just leave us. She paused before continuing. He was very well organized and very intelligent. Who knows? So I think she is leaving it a little bit open there.
She is.
But, she said a number of things there. If she didn't know, anything about what he was doing, and if she didn't benefit from it financially, as it appears she didn't, then yeah, she and the children are absolutely additional victims.
And how devastating would that be, right? I mean, you lost the man you love. They lose their father, guilty or not guilty of whatever.
Right.
He's still gone. So it changes your whole world. You go from having all this money to now you're bankrupt and owe people money and your financial world's turned upside down.
People hate you.
You can't even, leave your house to go to the grocery store without people saying things to you or looking at you with that look. It's got to be rough.
But I kind of get where she's coming from, where she's saying he wasn't the kind of man who would just leave us, but then saying he was very well organized and very intelligent. Who knows? No one wants to believe that their spouse would just voluntarily leave them and the kids.
Right.
But she is kind of leaving the door open a little bit there.
I'm assuming she's had some time to think about it too, and maybe not 100% convinced that he drowned.
The Chicago Tribune reported that Woody took out an insurance policy with Jackson National Life that he used as collateral for a loan with the State Bank of Antioch. After he went missing, the loan defaulted, and the bank wanted to collect his life insurance policy, which they could only do if Woody was declared legally dead. In January 1993, a Lake County police official and a firefighter both signed affidavits claiming they had seen Woody within the last 2 years. The first alleged sighting occurred on December 7th, 1990. Lake County Deputy Chief Stanley Iwan was on vacation with his family at Busch Gardens in Tampa. While walking through the amusement park, he passed within 3 feet of a man he felt positive was Woody Kelly.
Well, that's a little strange to me. Like, of all places, you're in Busch Gardens in Tampa, and you're going to see somebody that is Woody, or maybe it's just a doppelganger.
It could be. I mean, he called security, who called the police and the FBI. Iwan claimed he only received vague answers about the outcome of the FBI's inquiry. James McGrain, a captain with the Waukegan Fire Department, alleged that he saw Woody at an intersection in Waukegan in July 1991. He was driving down Washington Street when a vehicle pulled alongside him at a traffic light. Woody was the driver and waved at him. McGrain called the police and gave them the plate number, but he didn't know what became of his report. So, there's a couple of things here for me. Number one, these are not just people off the street, right? One's a police officer. The other is a captain with the fire department. Now, I don't know that they would have any reason to lie. They could be mistaken.
Yeah.
Thinking they saw this guy and it was really someone else, but.
If you're on the run, are you actually going to wave to the captain of the fire department? Like, hey, buddy, you got it. It's me. I'm right here.
Oh, I was going to say, what in the world are you still doing in Waukegan?
Yeah.
Now, if you're down in Florida, okay, maybe. My thought is if you've got that 6.5 million, you're in a non extradition country somewhere.
Yeah.
But hey, Ann Proctor's lawyer dismissed the sightings, noting that the witnesses didn't speak to or have contact with the man they believed was Woody. A lawyer representing the bank agreed that the sightings were not credible. And again, right, neither of those parties wants the sightings to be credible because they both want Woody declared legally dead. There's money involved. In February 1993, the FBI confirmed that the man seen in Florida was not Woody Kelly. According to a later report by the Chicago Tribune, a Tampa man named Perry Steen had decided to enjoy a day at Busch Gardens after his TV VCR class was canceled.
TV VCR class. Today, boys and girls, we're going to talk about the introduction of the TV VCR combo and how to plug them into each other and record. Please take out your desktop manual to begin.
Deputy Chief Stanley Iwan and park security followed Steen to the parking lot. After mistaking him for Woody Kelly, Steen drove off before police arrived. A security officer took down his license plate number, which was traced to the truck owned by Steen. 2 FBI agents showed up at his home 3 days later, forcing him to explain himself. Okay, that would be kind of a strange situation.
It would be.
Can you explain yourself? Yeah, I was at Busch Gardens.
Was that not okay? Should I had that VCR TV class? I'm really sorry.
In September 1993, a judge ruled that the 2 sworn affidavits were not sufficient to prompt him to dismiss Ann's petition to declare Woody legally dead. However, the judge did say that the alleged sightings raised a presumption that Woody may still be alive, based in part on a theory that he voluntarily disappeared when authorities started closing in on his financial crimes. The attorney representing the life insurance company argued that there was nothing to show Woody could not have planned to leave his fishing boat and disappear. The hearing officially started on February 14th, 1994. During the hearing, Ann's attorney Terrence Lavin argued that the media created a myth in which Woody was living on an island somewhere with his client's stolen money, but there was no proof of this. Lavin said in court, if he took this story to a screenwriter, he would laugh you out of his office. Woody's daughter, Carrie Ann, testified, I would find it very difficult to believe my father would abandon his family. I believe my father is dead. Ann testified that in the days before he went missing, Woody hinted that something was wrong, saying he intimated that there were some problems at the office. I don't remember exactly what. I recall I said, don't you think you should get this straightened out? Get an attorney. But on the day he went missing, everything seemed normal. She testified that she planned to meet Woody in Waukegan Harbor that night for dinner, but he never showed up. During the hearing, Perry Steen's deposition was made public. Steen said in his deposition, per the Tribune, I do not wish to be disturbed about this matter again. I resent the implication that I ever knew Woodruff S. Kelly or even care. I don't know why, but I actually got a chuckle out of that. He's basically saying, I don't have anything to do with this. Please stop bothering me.
Yeah, why do you keep bringing me into this thing?
I don't give a rat's ass about this, man.
I wish I never went to Busch Gardens that day.
And why did no one tell me that the VCR is going to be obsolete very, very soon?
I would have never took those classes or given them.
The Tribune also reported that the man from the Waukegan firefighters' affidavit was identified as William Georgeson, who resembled Woody Kelly, which discredited the second alleged sighting. However, on February 16th, 1994, the judge refused to declare Woody legally dead. Judge Emilio Santi based his decision on the suspicious circumstances surrounding Woody's disappearance and the 2 reported sightings. None of it proved Woody was alive, but in the judge's opinion, the evidence creates and infers that Mr. Kelly continues to be alive. And, that's kind of what I was thinking as we were going through, this part, this hearing. I get it. His daughter said, I think my father's dead. Carrie Ann testified that he would never abandon the family. And neither of these sightings turned out to be credible. But none of that proves he's dead.
Right.
To me, it seems just as likely that he's off somewhere living a new life as it is that he fell overboard. Evidence-wise, I don't know that one outweighs the other. Now, if you had a scenario where you didn't have all of these circumstances, right, where the guy had stolen all this money, he's about ready to be arrested, right? He's cornered. Then I think it's a different situation.
Yeah.
Probably much easier to think that, okay, this person really did die or fall overboard. But Woody Kelly had a real reason to, fake his death. He potentially had 6.5 million reasons.
He did. I wonder if Ann will ever get that money.
Yeah, I don't know. You know insurance companies as well as I do. We've worked with them for a long time. The one thing that we do know about them is if it's at all possible not to pay out, they will find a way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how they operate.
At this point, they might be better off settling for the original amount because I can't imagine what the interest on that would be today.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. But right now it seems to be in their favor, right? The judge ruled the way that he ruled. It's been 40 years since Woody Kelly went missing. If he's still alive, he'd be in his early 80s. And it is possible he's still alive. Maybe unlikely, considering his advanced age and the lack of any evidence of his existence after June 5th, 1985. Now, we talk about people, just kind of going off to start a new life. Sometimes, I would say most of the time, to me, it makes no sense at all. They leave behind too many things, money, things that you think they would need to start a new life. This situation is very different. There's $6.5 million somewhere that's unaccounted for, which means it's possible he could have gotten his hands on it.
Yeah. You'd have to be okay leaving your kids behind.
Well, I don't know if he was okay with it, but if you're going to prison for a very long time, are you essentially not leaving your kids behind?
No, you're right. If you're going to be put away in prison for a long time, or you could just take that money, have another life somewhere.
Now, I'm not justifying it by saying that
No.
because what he did to his wife and kids is horrible.
Sure it is.
If, he really did leave them destitute, psychologically harmed, they lost their friends. They lost their ability to go to the schools they were going to and all of that. So what he did was horrible to them. On top of what he did to all these people, taking their money.
Oh, yeah, the 300 plus investors.
Yes. But I'm trying to get into his head, thinking, well, if I go to prison, I'm not going to see my wife. I'm not going to see my kids anyway. They're probably going to take all their stuff and all the money we have to repay these people. I might as well just take this money and go start a new life. That's the best option. Also, he was probably thinking very selfishly. A lot of these guys do.
Well, he had to think selfishly to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if that's the way it turned out. Now, it could be that he fell over and drowned too, and his body has just never surfaced.
That's a very strong possibility.
But if that is the case, then where is the money? I mean, he hid it so well that nobody else knew where it was, which is possible.
Yeah.
And it's still sitting in some account somewhere in some country that nobody's ever accessed because he's dead. And he's the only one that can access it. Or he is accessing it, did access it, and he's using it to live out his life. And he may even be dead by now, but he did live out his life. So there's a lot of different scenarios here. It's just a very fascinating case, but it's one that, could be cleared up at some point. Let's say he's still alive and he does die. At some point, authorities might be alerted to that. His body could still wash up. I mean, his remains, his skeletal remains, they could do DNA testing or who knows? Who knows what'll happen?
Or maybe we just need to pump out Lake Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. It's pretty big. All right. That's it for our episode on Woody Kelly. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Gibby. It's Anna Mae from Texas. Y'all's BFF, FFFF. Okay, so I'm sitting here listening to the McStay family murders. And Gibby, I love you. You're a nut. That's not why I called, though. I just wanted to remind you that you are a coot. Mike, me and your wife have something in common. Okay, I turned 40. Y'all will never hear me say this again. I turned 40 on September the 14th. But to this day, my husband, you should see his face. Because when we go somewhere and somebody asks how old I am, I mean, with a straight face, I get the year and everything. Like, right now, I was born in 2001. I hit 24 every single time without even stunting. Like, half the people in my life truly think I'm in my 20s. I just aged really bad. So that's funny. Yeah, no, I lie about my age to where I have to call my mom. I had to call my mom before I made this call. And I was like, Mom, how old am I? And she was like, oh, you got to quit. I will not do so. No, I am 24 and going strong. So I love y'all. Keep your head on the swivel. Keep your own time ticking. And y'all will hear from me soon. I am Team P-Tap. Couldn't do it without each other. So can't have one without the other. Peanut butter and jelly, peas and carrots. Mike and Gibby. Love y'all guys. Talk soon. Bye.
Wait, what are you? Are you the peanut butter and I'm the jelly? Or are you the jelly and I'm the peanut butter?
I don't know. You put your peanut butter in my jelly, or you put your chocolate in my peanut butter.
I don't dip nothing.
No, we appreciate the voicemail. We love you too. I don't think you're the only one. My wife's the only one. I think a lot of people get mixed up.
I think so too.
On their age.
She's been 24 for 24 years.
Yeah. Now some of it is just not wanting to admit your age.
Yeah.
But some of it is just genuinely thinking that you're younger than what you really are.
That's true.
Which is my wife's case.
Yeah.
She just always is a year behind on what her real age is. Now, there for a while, she was stuck on 29 when she was really in her 40s. But
okay.
That was on purpose.
Yeah.
She wouldn't get over the 29 hump, but eventually she had to progress. But now she just is off by a year every time she says it.
I mean, look, I turned 45 next year, so it's all good. You know?
It's all good.
Yeah. Not 60, 45.
Well, 45 is the new 60.
Well, that's true.
So
it's right. Yeah. All right. So I'm turning 60.
I mean, when you look like George Clooney, as you do, you're going to age very gracefully.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been called the George Clooney of your generation.
I actually have.
Even though you're in the same generation as George Clooney, which seems strange.
It seems strange, but I'm trying to make it work.
Oh, all right, buddy. That is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
September, CBS hits are streaming free on Pluto TV.
I'm coming in hot.
For this month only, stream full episodes of Matlock.
I'm a lawyer, like the old TV show.
Fire Country, Elsbeth.
I do love a mystery.
NCIS Origins, Watson, and Ghosts.
What the hell?
This is the most amazing sight I've never seen.
All for free. The CBS shows you love, this month only on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.